in decimated neighborhoods. Our next guest tweeted this: all of the representatives across Florida have been one team, one mission during this disaster, working together to serve the people of the Sunshine State in their time of need. We have a long road ahead, but we'll be stronger together. Joining us now is Florida Congresswoman Cammack. Congresswoman, great to have you with us as always. We have been seeing, just as you tweeted, so many people, not just within Florida, but from around the entire country coming together, putting politics aside to help those in need. Does that restore some of your faith in this great country?
Well, absolutely. And that's the great thing about America. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or white or black or rich or poor. When everything is at its worst, that is when Americans collectively, we are at our best. And that is why I am just, I can't say enough good about the response that has been taking place. And, collectively, the entire Florida delegation, Republicans and Democrats, have come together. We're supporting one another. We all in some way have been affected by the storm. The eastern portion of my district, we saw about 350 homes that were flooded, that we're still dealing with that aftermath in the suburbs of Jacksonville. But really, Southwest Florida, they took the brunt of the storm, and it's devastating. But what we are seeing is the good in humanity. And I've been seeing license plates as far as Montana, driving down the highway, crews with debris removal, tractors, supplies. It really has been a symphony and a one team, one mission mentality.
Now, I understand that your husband is one of those first responders as well. What has he seen with his own eyes firsthand that really might help explain to people exactly what it's like there right now as the cleanup begins?
Well, when the storm was approaching, our department here in my hometown of Gainesville, they were all hands on deck. They were preparing. They immediately were putting extra equipment on the trucks and getting ready to respond to any and every emergency. And in these situations, Florida has been so saturated with rainfall throughout the year. We're approaching 52 inches of rain without the storm. That means that all these trees that don't have the root structure to hold on, a lot of these trees come down on homes, they come down on power lines. And so everyone from law enforcement to our fire rescue personnel, they were ready to respond, cutting up trees, helping get linemen through to restore power. Now, I can't tell you how many of my local district officers and fire rescue personnel have been down to Southwest Florida helping boots on the ground with the devastation, but they are facing long days, well into the night, helping rescue people. There have been over 1,000 rescues thus far. We're seeing the death toll climbing, and this is not just restoring power lines and poles. An entire new grid has to be built down there. That is just the extent of how bad this storm hit. So say a prayer for our first responders. They're putting it all out on the line, sleeping in their trucks, doing everything they can around the clock to help rescue people, homes, and animals.
I always makes me happy to hear that the animals aren't forgotten as well. Kat, it's I think unfortunate because we were talking about how the reaction to this storm and the reality of this natural disaster has brought people together. But unfortunately, we see divisiveness in the White House. The White House now going in damage control after Vice President Kamala Harris made these controversial remarks regarding Hurricane Ian recovery efforts. Let's take a listen.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity.
Congresswoman, your response to this?
My goodness, when is the White House just going to hire Mr. Clean? Because that seems to be all that they do out of that press office, is clean up after Biden and Harris's word salad, absolutely inappropriate and inaccurate remarks. Listen, as the ranking member of FEMA, on Homeland Security. I can tell you that response, recovery, relief is not going to be based on race. It is going to be based on need. We are Americans. We are not Republicans versus Democrats. We're not white versus black. We are Americans. And the need for relief will go where it is needed. And so I don't know what she's thinking, but that's absolutely not what is happening. In fact, the administrator of FEMA had to course correct because there was panic that folks weren't going to be able to be eligible based on those remarks. It seems that the only strategy that the Biden administration seems to employ is that of division. At a time when we need to be coming together and getting back on our feet, all they want to do is divide. And that's why they're going to be here for a very short period of time. And in midterms, we're going to win. And in 24, we're going to take the White House back.
Yeah, before I let you go, Congresswoman, I want to get your thoughts on something. We're hearing more and more the words equity versus equality. So from your perspective, of course, being a member of Congress, explain a little bit to us what the difference is and what we should look out for, what the people should be aware of when they're hearing those words.
Well, you know, the thing that I hope everyone recognizes is that this nation, America as we know it, is a nation based on equal opportunity, not equal outcome. And this whole notion of equity means that you're having to take things away from others to lift others up. However, so many of us who have come from really nothing, you know, I'm the daughter of a single mom who went from homeless to the House of Representatives. That's only possible in a nation that champions equal opportunity. But this whole notion of equality, that is when you have to take away from someone else to hold yourself up or lift yourself up. And that is just incredibly wrong. It is the antithesis of what we are about as Americans. And as I like to say, a rising tide lifts all boats. When we have an America First policy that champions all Americans, that's when everybody wins. But this path that the White House continues going down of this virtue signaling where they pick and choose which ones are winners and losers, well, at the end of the day, everybody loses.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Wise words, as always. Congressman Kat Cammack, thanks so much. And again, you're in our thoughts and prayers down there in Florida. Thank you.
Thank you so much.